Welcome to Scream Queen's Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast. That is your final girl, Miss Justine.
Hey, what's up, Soul Survivor, Mr. Josh?
Hello, everybody, and it's an exciting day.
It's a wonderful, amazing, just all around beautiful day.
Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day.
I got a beautiful feeling.
Oh, what's your beautiful feeling?
We're headed to Colorado.
Yes, we are.
Well, in fact, we're in Colorado.
We're there. We're here. We are headed to the Stanley Hotel in Estes State Park, which is located, I guess, inside the Rocky National Mountain Park.
Yep.
Rocky Mountain National Park. So it's like parks and parks and.
Yep.
And if you.
State parks, national parks, park.
If you listen to David Paulides, you know state parks and national parks, people go missing and are never found again. So wish us luck.
Okay.
If you don't know about that,
maybe you don't know him, but like maybe you just know that people go missing in state parks and in national parks. So
yeah, we're
that
scared.
Also,
so we're going to a national park where we could go missing. And on
We
top of
have-
that, we're going to a haunted hotel.
We've brought in leaches to connect to each other, to tether.
We're not gonna let go.
So-
I'll never let go, Justine.
No, you're always on my raft.
So, yeah, we're headed to the Stanley Hotel. You horror buffs out there know that is the hotel that brought
The
inspiration.
Overlook, yeah, is where
Yep.
Stephen King got the inspiration
For his novel.
for his book.
For his genius. So,
His genius that led to another
genius.
Genius.
Making another work of art
Yes.
called The Shining, 1980s Stanley Kubricks film.
Shining.
So we're heading to the Stanley Hotel. Can you fucking believe it?
We're gonna get our spirit on while we're there. It's got a lot of
Yeah, it's apparently pretty
reported
haunted.
hauntings.
Built in 1909. It is on the World Heritage
Uh-huh.
Registry of, I guess, badass hotels.
Grand Heritage Hotel.
Grand
Registry,
Heritage
yeah.
Hotel.
I mean, it's fancy.
It's a pricey hotel. We're just staying one night.
Yeah, we
So-
just got that one nighter. We're going to Colorado. We're going to Denver first.
Make a little stop in Denver.
Make a little stop in Denver overnight.
We are big South Park fans, so you South Park fans out there that are listening know what Casa Bonitas is. And
Casa
we
Bonitas.
are going to grub at Casa Bonitas, fun in the festive atmosphere.
And we're just going to stay overnight, do a little brunch, and then head over to the Stanley.
Yeah,
Have a wonderful day.
We're going to see what Denver has to offer. And
What
then
does Denver have to offer,
we'll
Denver?
go further into the mountains and go to the Stanley Hotel, which I'm most excited for. And that's what we're going to do. Once we get to the hotel, we're at the hotel.
Yes.
We might go for a little hike or something, but
We're in a park, so
Yeah.
we probably will do that and just take advantage of all. I mean, it's a gigantic premises.
yeah, so we're going to be bougie AF. They have a whiskey bar we're going to sit our happy asses at. We're going to order that room service.
There's pools, there's jacuzzis, there's
All kinds
all
of stuff.
kinds of just lazy.
Do you think there's an animal menagerie or a
you mean
hedge maze?
Yeah, hedge.
Like in the book and in the movie?
I mean, it would. Where'd he get that inspiration? He wrote the book.
Inspiration?
We'll see.
Maybe back in the 70s there were hedge mazes.
Hedgy works of art.
Hedgy.
Hedgy.
I love hedgy art.
I'm really into hedgy art. It's
Yeah.
like a combination of hedge
And
and
E.
art.
Yeah, it's like you gotta take some Molly, some E when you do the hedge art, so it's hedgy.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck we're saying. Anyways,
We'll go-
1980s Stanley Kubrick horror masterpiece
Yes.
that Stephen King hates. But we were talking earlier, and we think he's just jelly.
I mean, he's a little peanut butter and jelly for sure.
Some trivia behind the movie is Stephen King wrote a draft for Kubrick, and Kubrick rejected that draft.
No, he was like, I don't like where you're going with this, Steve. I really don't. He slapped him on the face and then the ass, because that's just their dynamic.
With his cock.
With his...
Stanley Kubrick whipped his dick out,
Teabagged.
slapped Stephen King, teabagged him, and said, I'm going with a different writer.
Yeah.
Love your novel.
Diane
It's a great
Johnson.
piece of inspiration.
I am inspired by someone else other than you. Thanks for your book, but we're going in a different direction. and they did.
They went in a different direction. And you know what? I think both are great. The
Yeah,
book,
they're all
of
the better
course, is a
for it.
masterpiece. Of all horror novels, people cite that sometimes as one of the best horror novels, The Shining.
It's having read it. We both have read it, so.
Yeah, and in the same regard, when it comes to horror movies, people hold The Shining as one of the best horror movies.
Yeah.
Even people that don't like horror movies often are like, I don't like horror movies, but I like The Shining.
Like, The Shining's great.
And they're not wrong.
Yeah, it's true.
Great. I think Stephen King just needs to take a deep breath and
Breaths?
realize... Well, his big complaint, which we're going to get into, is that he doesn't feel Jack Nicholson has much of an arc. That he's already crazy. You already know he's crazy, and that
he's already got.
So you don't get to see that him kind of dive into this depression, into this funk, into this murderous rampage. In this version, you're kind of expecting it, but I think that works. In Kubrick's defense, I think that works because it adds suspense. You know he's going to go crazy. You're like, this is Jack Nicholson. He's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When is he going to go crazy? Oh, is this moment? When's
Not
it going to happen?
Not a matter of, like, if he does. It's when he does.
It adds anticipation. It adds suspense for me, anyways, the first time I saw it.
Yes.
So I think either way, there's no wrong way to portray Jack Torrance.
No.
He
Well,
could be-
I mean,
he could
clearly
be-
Stephen King
I was
thought
about to say,
so.
he could be like Steven Weber in the made-for-TV adaptation by Mick Garrison.
Mick Garris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, okay,
he
so.
just needs to take a chill pill.
Yeah, he needs to take a chill pill. While we're there, we're going to visit. I mean, in the movie, they have room 237. But when we get to the Stanley, we're going to visit room 217.
Maybe he would prefer a chill enema instead of a chill pill.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice cold enema up your
ass.
Mm-hmm.
Your anus.
Your anussy.
Your anussy. Oh my goodness.
It might help.
Okay, well, all right.
But
so
hey,
instead
guys,
of a chill pill, Stephen King can
we love
take
Stephen
it.
King.
Yeah.
We're just.
I mean, is that really where you want to go?
No,
is it
we
the
love
direction
Stephen
you
King.
want to do
We
your
love
podcast?
him. He's the master. We love him. I just thought
He is the master.
a chili enema.
Thigh master.
Thigh master.
He does thigh master.
Him and Susan
Yeah.
Summers.
Oh gosh, him and Suzanne Summers are just doing the thigh master. Golly, that's a really old reference. I don't know how many people are even going to get that. Just because it's old, because I'm fucking old.
Moving on.
Move on up, move on out. Okay, so 1980, Stanley Kubrick. We've already established that. The Shining. Shelley Duvall, Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, strangely enough, I'm not sure what, if any, was actually shot in Colorado. They might have done some of those helicopter shots in Colorado, the car going.
Yeah.
Because the hotel itself is actually in Washington State.
All the exterior shots.
Yeah, all the exterior shots, and then they filmed all the interiors in a big sound studio in England. So.
Because that's where Stanley Kubrick is chilling and hanging out.
Yeah, he's like, he was kind of an expat. He kind of lived the end of his life, last like 40 years or whatever, in the UK.
He lived in the UK.
Because the
Not
UK
in the USA.
is okay.
Okay. So let's go. Let's get into it. Movie opens with what you just mentioned. Those shots of Denver. Yes, well, and that classic opening music. Yes, the
It was
soundtrack.
actually me that made that
was
in
you?
1980 before I was born.
Before you were born, yeah.
I did that.
That's interesting. I wonder how that would have worked.
It was a really interesting time in my non-life life, you know?
When you were just sound.
Yeah.
Before you were
I was just
born
like
into a human.
a seed and an egg, and I somehow made this sound. It was
Burner.
awesome.
Yeah, so that opens up. We get beautiful mountainous landscape, and we're camera's following a car through these winding roads.
Yeah, and like you said, that music, you know from the get-go.
It's ominous.
Something is gonna happen.
Some gotta do with something.
Something's gotta
That's
do with
right.
something. This music's
Something's
gotta do something.
with something. And Jack Torrance, as we come to find Jack Nicholson, he arrives at this gorgeous hotel in the mountains.
Beautiful. I love the look of the hotel.
It's foreboding as well.
Yes.
It's closing down. Doesn't look as busy.
Yeah, and he's got himself an interview.
What's he interviewing for? I mean, it doesn't look that busy. What you needing a job for, Josh?
He's trying to better his life, you know. He's an abusive alcoholic, and he's there to get a job because he's a writer on top of all that. And he's like, hey, this job as a caretaker out in an isolated, beautiful hotel.
Yes.
Gorgeous, massive hotel. He's like, I could do that. That'll help me write.
During the wintertime.
I'm going to go have this interview with Mr. Ullman. He's going to ask me some questions and tell me I'm perfect for the job. Also, while he's interviewing, though, the guy's like, I didn't tell you, our last caretaker went a little crazy and hacked up his family with an axe.
Yes.
And Jack's like, oh, well, I'm Jack Nicholson. I can't do a Jack Nicholson impression. I'm not going to try again this episode. Actually, I take that back. I probably will try again because I have no shame. But I will fail miserably because I'm not Jack Nicholson, man. See, there I went. I told you. I keep my word.
All right. Great. So, got an interview going on. And then back at home, down the mountain, but in Denver, we have Shelley Duvall.
Smoking a cigarette inside of her house with her child.
Yes, she's just hanging out.
Because in 1980, you didn't care about your kids' lungs or secondhand smoke or any of that. You just did what the fuck you wanted. She's like, I'm an adult, I'm going to smoke. I'm going to blow it in Danny's face. That's what she says in some of the unseen footage.
In the unseen footage,
footage. Yeah, it's not even like on the DVDs because it's unseen footage, but I've seen it.
Okay.
So it's unseen to some, but not to me.
Trying to follow that. Okay, so we meet Wendy Torrance, and she is
Shelley
sitting
Duvall,
there,
God bless her soul,
chatting with her son, who's just finger playing.
She's like, hey, what does she call it? It's not sport, but they always
Doc.
Hey, Doc, I'm Shelley Duvall.
And Danny is the son, and he's like, 6 or so, 7.
Yeah, you get the feel. Yeah.
Quiet, reserved, like he's having thoughts to himself, you know, like we see because we see in his head, but his mom doesn't see these things, and he doesn't really.
She's too busy smoking her cigarette and smiling.
He's also young, so he doesn't really have like much of a way to articulate like what all the visions that throughout the film he gets in his head. So we get him finger play talking.
Not finger banging, finger playing.
He has an imaginary friend that he talks to. Tony. And Tony
lives in his mouth.
Tony lives in his mouth. His little finger lives in his mouth. Tony, the voice. Yeah, it's kind of hard to.
Well, he says like, Tony lives in my mouth.
Tony's got to go in the mouth. But he's talking. He collapses. His mom finds him.
He has a spell.
He has himself a fainting spell.
A little spell.
After he's had a vision, because his friend Tony is telling him, your dad's getting that job. Shit's going downhill.
Yeah. Things aren't looking good, Danny.
And so he sends him some visions of like what exactly, or what might be around the corner for him. Collapses, and Wendy's like, oh, I gotta call the doctor, oh my goodness. So we get a doctor that comes over, and Wendy kind of explains why they even moved to Denver.
She's like, well, you see, my husband, like I said earlier, he's abusive and he's an alcoholic, and
she doesn't say any of these things.
She doesn't say that.
By
well,
the
she's
way.
like, oh, well, it's just like one of those situations where you grab your son and you do it so many times, and it's just like one time you grab him just right. She's being
excuses.
She's like a battered wife, basically.
Yeah.
She's making excuses for her awful husband.
Definitely coming across as someone
Sure,
who might
people
be...
make mistakes, but in the novel, this isn't a one and done. He's like beat up a college kid.
High school.
Right.
It's like a high school kid. Yeah,
Like
he was an English teacher at a private high school, and
he's got rage issues, and
he's got rage issues and
behavioral
he's
therapy.
Also an alcoholic, and he's got writer's block. So, and he blames all of that. He's resentful of his family, and in the movie you get the feeling like he resents his family
He always
and
seems
the situation
annoyed by them.
that he's put in because of them. Even the idea that he has to come to the Overlook, this idea that I've got to do this because I have to work for my family and they have to come with me, and oh my God, they're such a nuisance and stuff. He's really selfish.
He is. And then cut to, they're in the car. We get some other nice, beautiful helicopter shots. Some of that same ominous. And they're just chit-chatting about the Dahmer family.
Yeah, they're right
talking
to
about
the
cannibalism.
Hotel, yeah.
It's wholesome. It's 1980s family values.
Yeah, it's also a lot of
people.
passive aggressiveness between you just get the feeling from the get-go that Jack Torrance hates his wife Wendy.
Yeah, you're why did you marry such a gem like Shelley Duvall or Wendy if you can't appreciate the goddess that you have?
And she's so sweet all throughout. She's always coming across as I'm trying to be a good wife.
She's
I'm
always
rolling with the punches.
Sweet and confused.
Yes,
She's always like, what's going on in my life? Okay, I just go with the flow.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, we'll just work through it. That'll be okay. Yeah, and she's puzzled a lot at what's going on with her son, her husband.
A lot of people have accused Kubrick of kind of being misogynistic in this movie. That his version of Wendy is very weak and always crying, always kind of taking shit from Jack. In the later scene, he's just mean to her, and she's just like, okay. But I think she's a character from a different time, I think in a way he wasn't trying to make a statement about women's lib or
it might
I'm woman, hear me roar.
Wasn't that at all.
But I think she does have a good arc. At the end, she saves her son.
Mm-hmm.
She beats
They've
up
survived,
Jack, pulls him into, we'll get into everything later, but I assume you guys have seen the movie. She saves the day in the end. Spoiler!
Mm-hmm.
But, so I don't see her as a negative character.
No, she's smart on her toes. She picks up on things and pieces it together. She just also is kind of exasperated. And she is taking on the struggles of her family. Her husband clearly has, some mental,
And is it misogynistic
instability.
to say, a woman can have many emotions? She could be scared. She could be frightened.
She could be sad.
But in the end, she's tough and saves the day.
She survives and saves her kid,
I think everybody, men, women, we're well-rounded.
That's what's important, making well-rounded characters.
You can be scared. You can make the dumb choices, but then redeem yourself.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about Hollywood, because sometimes that doesn't happen in life, but can in a movie.
It can, and it does in this movie. Well, at least that's our opinion.
So they get to the
hotel.
Yeah.
We get to the hotel.
And they are impressed.
And Mr. Ullman shows them around, gives them, the general layout of the hotel, because of course they're going to be the ones taking care of it. It's off peak.
I would like to know if they recreated the actual interior of the hotel. Does it look like the one in Washington? I'm sure at this point it's been renovated and redecorated or whatnot, but I wonder if at the time what they filmed in London did look like the hotel's interior of the actual hotel.
Yeah.
But I digress. Maybe someone can send us a little message on Instagram.
Or we could read further and then follow that up on the other end of the podcast.
Yeah, if we can find out, we'll tell you.
Figure out maybe if that is, because that is a pondry right there. Look at you.
Look at me.
Look at him, guys. Okay, so we get to meet our friend, the head chef, Dick Halloran. And
Scatman Crothers,
yes. And he, when he meets the family, he immediately recognizes in our sweet little Danny something that he has in himself and conveys a message telepathically to Danny.
And he does it in a way that doesn't scare him. I think the first thing he says to him is like, "Hi, Doc, you like ice cream?"
Yeah, wants some ice cream.
Asking about ice cream.
Yeah.
They have a good little relationship. Like,
and he's very warm, maternal. Yeah, like you can tell that he wants he wants the best for this family, but he also, because we come to know that this thing that Danny has is maybe called the Shining.
Yeah, and he tells Danny, they get a moment alone why the parents, Shelley Duvall and Jack Nicholson / Torrance.
The Torrance
Just
parents,
Jack.
Yeah.
They're touring, learning things about the boiler room, whatnot. They go on they just go on a tour of the hotel.
Yes.
And so they leave him with Dick Halloran. And Dick Halloran's like, "Hey, my name's Dick." No, it's not short for Richard
my name
either.
Is Dick. Yeah, so he explains that he has this thing called the Shining, and he tells Danny about how there's going to be some things that Danny might see in the hotel.
You call for me if you need me.
Yeah, and you will kind of figure out how to call for me in such a way. And that, like, he might see things around, but, like, that they shouldn't be able to hurt him.
Yeah.
They're kind of just, they're ghosts in the hotel. But he should stay away from room 237.
Yes, I'm trying to think right now on the top of my head. Does this conversation happen before or after Danny sees the twins in, like, the rec room, playroom? Because there's a moment where Danny's by himself playing, like, in a games room, and the twins walk in and freak Danny out. And it's the first time you hear the, "Come play with us, Danny."
It happens after.
Happens
yeah,
after?
but it's directly after.
Directly
yeah,
after.
so he kind of, like, I mean, after they leave, Danny immediately starts seeing these twin girls, either not mutilated or mutilated and axed up in a hallway.
And we met them at Frymare a few years ago. We actually were on an elevator with them.
Heck yeah, we
and
were!
I tried to sneak a pic, but I could only get one of the twins in the picture. But we've been on an elevator with the Shining twins.
That was so much fun. They were there signing autographs and meeting fans of The Shining. It was cool.
They're still very British. Because you remember, they didn't really film this much in America.
Come play with us, Danny.
Hello, Danny.
But yeah, so, Jack's mental health is just kind of immediately deteriorating.
In real life or in the movie?
Because of this podcast, we're talking about the movie.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Just a joke.
Jack also is having his own kind of visions where he sees things that aren't there, or maybe they are there but they're ghosts, and that's the thing.
And they shouldn't be there.
We're seeing maybe something that is there, or maybe something that's in their head, playing with my heart, playing with my mind.
They do kind of play with that aspect. Like, is this all in Jack's head? Is he just going crazy, because he's not drinking and he has rage issues? Is he just going crazy? Is this all in his head? Or are there really ghosts? Are there ghosts among us?
Yeah.
Call the ghost hunters.
Because the ghosts don't seem to ever harm anybody.
Yet.
But I think that's the thing, is they're influencing the whole time. And so, although Dick Halloran told Danny, it isn't so much that they themselves can hurt you, but this can have an effect on your daddy's dick. Okay, all right. So let's get into the weather.
Well, right now it's my car says it's 69 degrees and sunny here in Colorado.
Kind of how the movie gets paced out once snow starts arriving, is it's like a countdown day by day.
Yeah. Tuesday. And one of the biggest jumps is a title marker that says Tuesday really fast.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa!
Kind of, at this point, kind of a classic jump scare is that title card. I've heard other people say they get scared by it too.
I've heard other people say that,
like... Not just me, guys.
But, okay, so The weather, it's still relatively warm, and Shelley Duvall, okay, we got to start calling them their names. Wendy and Danny, they go for a walk in the hedge maze, and we get to, like, see just how labyrinthian.
They got their cute little flannels on.
Yes, they're adorable. And Jack, from this point on in the movie, just keeps distancing himself, because he's, like, saying, like, yeah, I'll meet you guys out there, I'll go on a walk. But no, he's far more interested in, like, walking around the hotel, seeing the rooms, sitting in front of his typewriter, throwing a ball up against the wall.
And you think he's busy. He's always writing. He's writing away. He won't let
Hear that
Wendy
click,
look.
click, click.
But
And by he won't let, like, Wendy look, I mean, like, he's a dick
it's me.
about not letting Wendy look. He is so
She comes and gives him like a little goodnight kiss one evening, and she's like, "Well, hi, hon. I can come by and give you some sandwiches."
Now you do a really good Wendy.
Well, hi,
like, so your Jack, I'm gonna say, you know,
Not
needs a
very
little
good.
bit more finessing, but the Wendy, like, hi.
I think that's the only thing I can say, like, Wendy turns is, "Well, hi, hon.
Well, hi, hun.
Well, hi, hon."
It's like-
now I'm laughing too self-conscious about it. Well, hi,
Okay.
hon.
Well, they go walking around and they're finding all the dead ends and the hedge maze, and Wendy and Danny are just having a time of it, and Jack is working on something.
Is this when she comes in and he's a dick to her? I was going into that, but I can't remember if that's right now. I feel like it's getting there.
It's getting there. I mean, like, it's fine. We don't necessarily have to, like, we're
She
just,
tries to give him a
yeah.
little kiss and a sandwich. She says, "Hi, hon." And he is so mean to her, tells her to get the fuck out, yells at her, and then she's just like, "Okay."
like,
Sure.
backs out like a little sad puppy, you know.
Yeah,
ta-
she's looking
tail
all
between
cute.
her legs,
She's
yeah.
got her hair in these little braids. She's looking all happy with her hands in her dress pockets. Ugh, he's such a
So
dick.
fucking rude.
And I'm like, there's nobody cooler than, like, 70s, early 80s Shelley Duvall. Okay?
70s, early 80s Shelley Duvall is a wonderful Shelley.
Yeah.
It's the best Shelley.
Now we need to help her. She needs help.
Hashtag Shelley needs
And
help.
not by Dr. Phil.
No.
Hashtag
What the fuck was that?
keep Dr. Phil away from Shelley.
Hashtag no more Dr. Phil.
No.
Okay, a scene that I really enjoy that's coming up next is Danny riding around on his little tricycle all throughout the
yeah.
overlook. Again, we get this sound.
Yeah, the
This-
sound design is so cool.
There's no music right now. All we're hearing is the wheels rolling on and off the carpet, and then the wood floor, and that's what's creating this
Rhythm.
this-
It's like,
yeah, this
build
buildup of sorts, you know, because he's weaving in and out of the rooms.
He's going on carpet onto the hardwood floor,
Yes.
on carpet onto the hardwood floor, so it's giving this, like, weird, almost like a hum sound, like, and then he gets onto the wood. It's like bum 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 bum.
Yep,
bum,
a
bum,
rhythm,
Yeah.
a cadence is, yeah, it's
And it's unsettling.
it is unsettling.
And you're like, you feel
What's gonna
like
happen?
you feel the loneliness of him going through that hotel because it's almost echoey, and
It's just the three of them,
and
or is
and the
it?
fact that he can just ride his tricycle around inside also lends to the nature of how big that place is.
Yes,
It
it's
really
sprawling.
gives you the sense
Yes.
of how
And there's like event rooms that he, you know, goes past and all that.
he's just cruising along, having a good time. If I was a kid living in a huge hotel, I would be in heaven.
Oh, yeah, it would be
Exploring rooms and the grounds.
going
and-
all around. So Danny happens upon room 237.
Yes, they changed the number in the movie because the hotel didn't want people. I guess there really wasn't a 237 in that hotel in Washington. So that was something I'd read before. That was a stipulation. Like, yeah, you can film here, but you need to change it to 237. We don't want people really scared to go into 217. However, I feel like that would have been a big deal. Like, people would be going to their hotel like, no, I want room 217. Because that's what people do at the Stanley, people.
Yeah.
That was the room King stayed in. And so that
Now
is
it's notorious
popular,
and
yeah.
it needs, yeah. And there's other rooms because we like Ghost Hunters had a episode where they went to a few rooms and
some like
had
400,
some activity.
401.
401, 407, and 428 is
They
what
say
I
are
have
the
written
most
down.
haunted.
Yeah. So we'll probably scoot by there. Okay. So he goes by room 237 and it's ajar. And he's like, oh, let me see what's going on in this little baby. And he's all adventuring in there. And when we've got Wendy, who's in the kitchen. Wendy's always in the kitchen because she's always making something for everybody. Even at the beginning, the chef, Halloran, is like, you could eat all of this food for a whole year. You wouldn't even need to go outside.
My favorite at one point is she has this ginormous can of fruit cocktail.
Yes!
So she opens it, she pours it into this bowl, and I'm like, girl, who is eating that whole fucking can and bowl of fruit cocktail?
Yeah.
Maybe she'll put some saran wrap or foil on top of it and put it in the refrigerator. Because it was like at least a gallon of fruit cocktail.
And she was just like,
I'm
in it. I love fruit. Fruit is my candy.
Do you think it was in light syrup or?
I think it was on full, like, high fructose corn syrup. Okay, so she's getting food ready. Jack's asleep at his typewriter, and he's, like, kind of screaming. She can hear in the distance, he's like, oh.
She comes running for him, like, Jack,
what's going
wrong?
And he's collapsed to the floor.
Hasn't right before then, Danny, it was like snowing outside. Danny's like, can I go into the room to get my toy? And she's like, only if you're quiet. Don't wake your daddy up. Or is that later?
No, that's before, because what's gonna happen after is like Danny comes out and he's got his sweater all torn.
Yeah, and didn't Danny go in and Jack is all weird, like, come talk to me. Sit next to me, Danny.
Sit on my lap. Yeah,
it's really
your toy.
An unnerving scene. And
he's just slowly deteriorating.
And Jack Nicholson's a great actor, so the idea that Stephen King or whoever, other people who agree with him, say there's no character development, right there is a perfect example of it. He is starting to slowly unwind into madness, and even though it's Jack Nicholson, he still plays the different levels of his mania.
Yes. That spiraling of just like, he just goes from, well, he tried to be a family man to like a murdering maniac wielding an axe.
And right here is a good scene where you feel like maybe he's getting possessed, or like the hotel is really getting to him.
So he's wailing, and Wendy runs to see what's wrong with Jack, and he's laying there on the floor, and he tells her, I had this terrible dream that I killed you and Danny, and I didn't just kill you, I chopped you up into pieces. And she's like, oh my goodness, well, let's all go, lay down. Yeah. And then in comes Danny, and he looks just like frightened, and
he's got these markings all over his neck.
She sees them, and she's like, what's happened? And I mean, okay, so you've already had one time where your husband jerked your son's arm out of socket when he was a babe.
You were already hateful to your wife the day before.
Mm-hmm. You've been really unsettling the last couple weeks, Dad.
Something's been off.
So maybe Wendy goes the accusatory route and just flips out and says, like, oh my gosh, you've done this to him.
You did this! Was that good?
Oh, that was really good. And she accuses him, and then she takes Danny and kind of like goes back to the suite. That's really good.
That's what she says.
I almost like, you could have taken the role of in Dr. Sleep of Wendy instead of that girl, even though she did a phenomenal job. So you would.
I think I could have done better.
You could have done better, yeah. Well, Jack's really frustrated about it, and he finds himself wandering maddeningly into one of the hotel's little event bar areas. And at the beginning, the Mr. Ullman had mentioned like all the liquor would be taken from the hotel. It was for liability reasons. But he goes in there and he's wandering around looking at like the bar, the empty bar, closes his eyes, puts his head down, lifts it back up, and there is Lloyd.
He's like, hi, Mr. Torrance. Hi, Lloyd.
And not only is he Lloyd, but he knows he's Lloyd, and he has like a rapport with him, and he's like, hey, can I get myself a drink? And there's like drinks and a bar with liquor.
It's all full.
What?
All of a sudden, had been an empty bar.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And does he actually have his first drink right now?
Yes.
Yes. So he takes a little sip, and is the all of a sudden everybody's in the bar too, right? Dancing, or is this later? I feel like there's two bar
There's
encounters.
2 bar scenes, yeah.
Okay. So this is the one where he leaves and then he goes to that room 237 himself,
Yes,
right?
and he holds the bathtub lady.
This is a notoriously frightening scene. And it plays on people's expectations.
It does.
I'm sure some men get a boner and then it deflates pretty quick.
Because there is, okay, so Jack ends up in room 237, and there is a gorgeous woman who stands up out of a bathtub. She naked.
Oh, well, we also need to mention, at one point, Shelley Duvall kind of comes back out, and she's like, Jack! There's somebody in the hotel. Remember?
Oh, yeah, she tells them about room 237.
So she's like,
yeah.
I kind of forgive you, sorry, I blamed you, but
Yeah.
she's all crying. She's like, Danny says there's a woman in the hotel that attacked her.
Yes,
attacked
so
him.
that's why
he
goes to room 237. Yep. Sorry, guys. So he opens the door, and Danny's like having a seizure while Jack's like in the room, in room 237.
He's like foaming at the mouth.
And and then Dick Halloran is at his house in Florida. Because he also, he was leaving at the beginning of the movie. Oh my gosh, in the distance we can see mountains, guys!
We see the Rockies.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, we have to immediately stop what we're talking about. Guys, there's mountains in front of us.
We see mountains. We're from Oklahoma. We don't have mountains.
Well, we do. We actually have 4 different mountain ranges, but they're small.
Mountains.
Little mountains.
We don't have Rocky Mountains.
No, this is huge.
These are real mountains. We have
there's
isn't
snow on
that
them.
cute? We'll call it a mountain.
It's cute, little tit.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jack, we have a lot of things going on. Dick Halloran in Florida, he's kind of having a moment where he's thinking he needs to contact
I love when
the
they cut
hotel.
away to Dick Halloran because he has these wonderful and beautiful, big 70s
Yes, his
pastel oil paintings of these beautiful
His outfits.
African women.
Oh man, his whole aesthetic.
Yeah, his whole aesthetic is
yeah,
very
his vibe.
African.
Yeah.
And
he's definitely
the
feeling
naked
himself.
women portraits above his bed
Yes,
and
it's
above
everything.
his TV. It's also very Kubrick too. The whole aesthetic. It's Dick, it's Kubrick.
It's one and the same.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so we've got also right before, and just to mention that Wendy's been trying to stay in contact with the outside world by being on the CB radio.
Yes. And she's had a few little conversations.
Yeah,
with
so
some
she's established a
Rangers.
relationship with the Rangers, so that just will come into play.
CBC 1 to CBC 2.
And so she knows that she could reach out to them if she needed to. She knows that, and maybe somebody else does too.
Is it gonna snow today?
and yeah, that's kind of how she
CBC
really
1
figures
to
out
CBC
the
2.
snow is coming that is going to eventually snow them in and lead to this real cabin fever. And okay, so we've got Jack in the hotel room in 237.
And he peeks in, he sees someone in the shower. And he's getting a closer look, and it's like this model, statuesque, beautiful woman. She's getting out of the tub one saucy leg at a time. And
Slow
she is
walk.
tits out, vag out, butt out. She's just out.
Pubic hair out. She got bush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm a woman, hear me roar.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes up to Jack, and Jack is just astounded. He's like, whoa, okay, my kid was right. There is a woman in here, but she's beautiful, and I'm going to at least
I
make
got a
out with
boner.
her. I'm going to bone her. Got Wendy up there scared. She won't ever know.
Yeah.
I don't know what his thought process was.
Yeah, he goes, I think he's just enraptured, you
Yeah.
know, it's an illusion,
The hotel is taking over.
So he starts kissing that woman, and he is kind of growing
Feeling
aware
her
of this change in
He's
her
like, she
appearance,
feels
and
rather slimy.
Then he realizes he's holding a water bloated corpse of
Rotting,
a woman who
yes.
is there instead, and she's cackling and laughing at him. I love your cat.
She's like a real witch.
She is.
I think she's in Robert Eggers' The Witch. No, I made that up.
No, that didn't happen. Yeah, no.
I made that up.
What are you talking about?
I made it up.
You made it up?
So yeah, he's a little freaked. He's a little fricked.
And he goes back and he tells
Yeah,
Wendy.
He's stumbling out of there. Scared.
And he's just like,
Everything's cool.
it's fine.
The door was open, so yeah, I
I
guess
saw some puss.
I guess he was in there. The
Yeah.
door's open, but yeah, I didn't see like a model that I made up with and cupped her boobs turn into a big bloated corpse.
It
No.
wasn't anything like that.
Wendy, that didn't happen, babe.
Wendy's like, well, I think we've got to take Danny to the doctor then because of what he's saying.
He's gotta go to
This-
the doctor.
This is the last part. This is the last straw for Jack.
She's scared again. She's like, we've got to take him to the doctor, and she's crying, and he's like, he kind of has a flip. Well,
He's
no,
just-
he has the. We're kind of out of sequence. Before that scene, he has his final talk with the previous caretaker in the bathroom. He goes back to the bar, has his drink. This is when he really gets influenced to go after his wife and kid. And it also gets weirdly racist in the bathroom.
No, well,
Is
that's
all
the
this
attendant.
happening?
That's a different. So it's not Lloyd, the bartender.
Yeah,
he
it's
goes
the
in.
attendant.
He goes sees Delbert. and-
Yeah, he's the
yeah.
bathroom attendant, quote unquote,
Yeah.
but he's also, they're like, no, you're the original caretaker. He's like, I've always been here.
Yeah, yeah.
Something.
Okay, so Wendy is like, we gotta go. He's like, no, I don't want to. You've really fucked my life over. I'm just over this. And he goes back, and there's this big party going on in the extravagant little bar room that he was just in.
Yeah,
and he
then
goes into
yeah.
the bathroom,
It's
and
a
he
very
sees
pivotal
the
scene.
sees the butler and does all that, and then Dick Halloran again's trying to get a hold of the hotel. And
Yeah, in that bathroom, that's basically when he gets convinced. He's like, you've got to do something about it. He's calling, your son is calling that, doesn't say black man. He uses some horrendous language.
Yes.
That always makes me so uncomfortable when I watch it. I'm like,
Well,
I get these guys
they
are
say
supposed
it
to be
back and
evil.
forth. Yeah,
I'm like,
it's,
I guess that's what they're going with that.
the racial slur is just.
So you're like, ugh.
It's I don't know. It's unnecessary, but
It's like, are they
it's
trying
kind
to
of
make
out
a
of
statement,
place.
like because this guy is a ghost that's been there for decades?
like
that's
yeah,
something
because
he would
he's
have
like a
used,
1920s.
something he would have used in the 20s
Yeah.
language, and then Jack Nicholson
Says it. Jack Nicholson when he
almost
says it,
says it quizzically,
like
what?
like the N word. What like.
It's
But
all kind of,
yeah,
yeah, it's said at
but
least
he
3 times.
he convinces Jack that like
You need
you've
to
got
do
to get
something.
rid
Things
of.
are out of your hands now unless you do something.
And okay, so Jack
This is when he goes after Wendy.
goes
So Wendy has done some sleuthing on her own. She finally goes and looks at this book he's been working on.
Yep.
He's been so mean and nasty to her about.
She wants to go read some of his pages. It's like, you know what, motherfucker? What have you been doing this whole goddamn time?
At this point, he should have a full novel written, and it's pretty girthy and big. It looks like a thick
Pages.
stack of pages.
And it's the real thin. I mean, this is like typewriter that he's writing on. It's 1979. You know, it's
And she-
1980 when the movie comes out, but
Starts flipping through the pages, and they all say the same thing, but they're all formatted. Like, he thinks in his head he's writing a story.
yeah, it's
No.
like,
And they just say, all work and no play make Jack a dull boy.
and
And that's all they say, pages and pages and pages.
prose
of
and prose
all-
and just the same.
all work and no play make Jack a
Sentence.
dull boy. And it freaks her out. She's looking at it, and then Jack sneaks up behind her and startles her. And she's carrying this bat.
And he's like, how do you like it? Like, he just,
And she's like, Jack, I think we need to get Daddy and get out of here.
oh my God, that's really good.
And he's like, take Danny.
Yeah.
I have responsibilities. And she's like, no, we gotta take him. And he's leading her up the stairs, and he's freaking her out. And he's like, no,
And
all I'm
Wendy
gonna do is bash your fucking head in.
So Wendy hits him.
Yeah, she's swinging on for a while, and finally she's like, all right, motherfucker. And she gets him. She whacks him once in the head, and then she's like, there's no turning back now. And she whacks him again.
Yeah, he falls. He loses his balance.
She
He
whacks
ends
him.
up,
She whacks him a lot.
oh, damn. Why are you jerking your hand like that? You are
'Cause
nasty.
she whacks him.
Wax him off?
But with a baseball bat, not with her hand.
Or wax on, wax off? Like she,
She whacks him with a
circular
baseball
motion?
bat, not whacks him off, Okay.
Wax off.
You're
wax
dirty.
on. Oh, I'm dirty. You were the one doing the hand gestures,
Okay,
everyone.
I might have brought it up.
Okay. So we've got Wendy, who just pummeled him in the... Okay, he topples down the stairs. When he gets back up, he's hurt his ankle. So we get now that visual that's remembered forever, this iconic Jack Nicholson going down the hallway, dragging his ankle.
Well, first she drags him into the big...
she gets him in the pantry and locks him in there.
Yeah, she locks him to the big walk-in pantry, and she drags him and locks him in there.
And she's all like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And he wakes up right before she can shut it. He almost gets her, and he's locked in there, and he's screaming for her. Who comes along and helps him out?
The Delbert guy. But he also, Jack went to that CB radio, and he fucked with the radio.
Yeah,
and
she
he tells her,
to,
I've got the pieces for the, in here, so she can't open it up.
And she also runs out, there's like this big...
The big cat.
The big
snow
cat.
Snow
cat, how they can get out in the snow if there's an emergency.
In case.
And the insides of it have been ripped open.
And Delbert's like, Jack, we've got to get out of here. You've got things to do. You've got a family murder.
Yeah.
And the pantry door just unlocks. So ghosts are helping.
They are helping. And they are hurting. They're hurting, they're not helping.
And Wendy, she goes to check and confirms what he has said about the fact that he sabotaged the snowcat too. So he's sabotaged the CB radio and the snowcat. She can't get out. Oh, holy hell.
At this point, she runs
goes back into her room, falls asleep.
With her
Danny
son.
gets into a trance. He's got a knife. He's like, red rum, red rum, red rum, red rum.
Yeah, she wakes up, and this is when you get the reveal that red rum means murder.
He's written it on the door. The mirror flips it. We see it.
Yeah, he's been kind of saying it for a minute now.
Red rum.
And she wakes up and sees it through the mirror and sees that it says murder. And she starts screaming. Freaks her out. And then, perfect timing, here comes Jack with the axe.
And he's now, we get that shot of him coming down the hallway. He's dragging the axe and he's, I'm coming for you. I'm going to get you. So she runs with Danny into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And they're hiding out in there, and she's able to get, because it's snowed and snowed and snowed and piled up high.
Big
they are
snowdrift.
snowed in. They don't, there's not, like, they're trapped, needless to say. And also, they're not really wearing the most conducive
She
clothing
has like a blue
for being
robe
outside.
on and her pajamas. He's got his pajamas on. She finally, though, sticks him out the window. Luckily, they're on, like, maybe the 3rd floor or something. But there's a big snowdrift that acts like a slide. And she sticks him out the window, slides him down the snowdrift.
Yeah.
She tries to get out herself, but the window will not open any further.
She can't, she just can't get
She
fit.
can't get out.
And so she's in the bathroom. We
With
have
a
her
knife.
with the knife that Danny had because he was also possessed. And she's standing there up against that door frame. We get
That
Jack
classic
Nicholson
shot,
axing his way in
Here's
through the door.
Johnny.
And she's just screaming because it's fucking frightening. Your husband is trying
And
to
you're
kill
stuck in this
you.
little bathroom. You have nowhere to go. She definitely sells the fear. People who say that she gives a terrible performance, I don't get it. You might find her...
She might not be your flavor.
Yeah,
but
you might... I hear a lot of people be like, she's ugly. Blah,
No.
blah. I'm like, no, she's offbeat looking. She was gorgeous back in her day.
Oh, she had that doe eye. She was so gorgeous. I mean,
She
beautiful
just might be
person,
off-putting
so,
to some people, but she's not a terrible actress. She's great. And she's great in this movie.
When Jack Nicholson does that Johnny Carson, like, opening, what's his name? Who would introduce
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson? No, but who would introduce him? It was him that would say it. But it was him that would say, here's Johnny.
It's the guy that used to do the Publisher Clearinghouse stuff.
Damn it. I forget. But it's a reference to The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
And Jack sticks his hand through the door to turn the knob, and Wendy slashes him with the knife, and he obviously takes his hand back, and he's like, oh man.
And they start hearing a honking or a big motorized sound. For the last kind of few scenes, you've been seeing the adventure of Dick.
We can kind of go off on that right now.
He's flown from Miami
Whenever
to Denver.
Danny was having that seizure that we mentioned, is when, and
he's like, he needs my
Jack
help.
was
I gotta
in
go
the room
help
237. Yeah. So he gets there by Snowcat. So he brings a Snowcat up as well.
A lot of the action we've been talking about has been taking place for over a day. And so Dick has had time to like leave Miami. He's flown into Denver. He's now renting a Snowcat because, well, no, he had to drive from somewhere 5 hours and to pick up the Snowcat to then drive to the Overlook.
Yeah,
so
but
he's
been
had his own little
own
adventure
journey, and along the way, been getting those little shines from Danny, updates kind of the basically the temperature of the of his parents.
Like, well, they're still alive.
Yeah. So we hear that honking. Dick has arrived inside the hotel.
Wendy's saved by the Snowcat noise.
This is sad though, because like this is, I think, the downer in the whole movie is here we are. We've gone on that little adventure with Dick Halloran to get back to the Overlook, and he immediately is this like sacrificial lamb, the kill that
you find
needed
out
to
in
happen.
Dr. Sleep he didn't die, and you also in the book he doesn't die. So he just gets hurt really bad in this movie.
Right. Well, but I mean, like in this movie though, like you're led to believe that he is dead. Yeah. Like we didn't, for a really long time we didn't think that like he was alive. But
now we know. There's hope. But he's walking around Dick
so he gets
in the hotel looking for them.
Accident, but like Jack Nicholson comes upon him and kills him with an axe.
Jumps out, jump scare, gets him right in the gut with the axe. And the second he does it, Danny sees it, like, through The Shining, and it scares the fuck out of Danny. He just starts screaming, and Jack hears Danny. Because hadn't Danny been hiding in the kitchen? Because he had run back in the house.
Not into the
house, to the hotel.
Yeah, he'd gone back in.
And he went and hid in the kitchen under a cabinet.
Danny's back in the house.
And so when Dick gets killed, he screams, and Danny hears, Jack hears Danny.
And knows that he's going down the hallway and just kind of...
And Shelley Duvall's running around trying to find both of them, trying to save her son. She's now wondering where Jack went, where Danny went. And she's also almost like trapped in this labyrinth of the hotel. And everything spooky in the hotel is trying to keep her away from her son.
Coming out. Shocking and horrifying her.
She sees people with like a guy with his head split open. Lloyd, I think, right? Or no, or one of the spirits.
It's one of the spirits, yeah.
She sees a furry giving a blowjob to a man.
Like you do.
She's just running around seeing all this creepy shit.
She sees the hallway with all the blood.
Some of it nonsensical, like the guy in the bear costume giving head. But it's weird and creepy.
The elevator scene with all the blood.
Yeah, happens.
And that very
been
classic
seeing it kind
shot.
Of from the beginning, but
Danny has seen. Danny's seen it in his head, but we get to see that.
Shelley or Wendy sees it now.
The full elevator open, the blood pouring out of the elevator doors, and it's a very classic scene that now we all
washing
know.
The lobby away.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really
visually stunning.
Apparently took days to film.
Days!
Which I believe it's Kubrick.
It's, a million shots. Okay, so Danny does escape. He goes outside to the hedge maze, and he's...
Yeah, Jack is now after him. He's right on his heels.
Going through the maze, and he quickly picks up on the fact that he's leaving snow tracks from his footprints, and so he decides to kind of double back.
He doubles back, starts kind of wiping his prints away, and hides, and Jack is just chasing after him. It's all done with this beautiful steady cam that's just weaving around the hedge maze in the snow.
Give me that front shot.
And it's all lit beautifully because there's supposed to be just like natural light, or not natural lights, there's lights in the hedge maze that are supposed to just be lit, and it's illuminating the snow, giving almost like a foggy atmosphere as well.
And it's just packed full of feet deep of snow everywhere. And you're going to get lost. You know, this is like, we're going to get lost. Somebody's going to get lost.
And Jack passes Danny. Danny hid. What he did saved him. And Jack keeps going down the maze. And then Danny follows his dad's tracks out of the maze. He's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And Jack is lost. He's in there roaming around like, and
he's just like insane.
Wendy finds Danny and they embrace. They're like, let's get the fuck out of here. And they get on Dick Hallerman's snowcat. And they're like, bye.
Right off into the sunset. And we get a shot of Jack in the maze.
Yeah, it cuts to like the next day and he's just sitting there frozen. Solid.
Little drippies of icicles off his chin. And
it's kind of an iconic shot.
And then the camera zooms back to the hotel. We get last shots of that. Goes inside. Goes down the hallway. And then we see this picture frame on on one of the walls.
It's like the Overlook, 1920,
Midnight,
right?
the stars and you. It's this picture of 1921's July 4th ball.
And it's full of just people in flapper costumes of the era.
In the middle, in the very middle, where you think maybe the host, the MC, the caretaker of the property of the event might be, is Jack Torrance standing right there smiling. In that picture, commemorated forever, smiling.
His Jack Nicholson grin. And just slowly keeps zooming in tighter and tighter on his face until it goes to the end credits. So you're like left to wonder, like, oh, so it was just reincarnated. That spirit kept reincarnating for evil, or that spirit just couldn't leave the hotel and kept getting,
And there's a funny scene. It's, towards the beginning. This movie is well over 2 hours, 20 minutes maybe. It's over 2 hours, and there's a scene where Jack and Wendy's like, oh, when I first got here, I was like, I don't know about this. I just had a weird feeling. And Jack says, when I got here, even on the drive, I always kind of felt at home, like I was just being drawn home.
Yep. It's not so much like possessed as like drawn back.
Like if you were in fact reincarnated and you were having to come
something's
back,
always bringing you back.
Pay your respects, a weird pilgrimage of some sorts. But okay.
And then the cool thing is, at the very end of the movie, there was like this cool crossover where Tangina comes in and like gets all the spirits taken out of the house.
Tangina! She's here! She wants to clean your home! Your hotel's fine!
And then Wendy comes in and she's like, oh, hi, hon.
Oh my god, what if there was a crossover where Tangina came and saved Wendy, or like took her through like a portal?
I think it's the sequel we really needed. I mean, I love Dr. Sleep, but I think we needed the Tangina Wendy Torrance.
Yep, it's what we needed. And
ghost action adventure movie.
Yep. It's what we're going to create. We're going to get right on it after we visit Estes Park and see the Stanley Hotel.
We're so excited. We're getting closer and closer. It's like a 9.5 hour drive from Oklahoma City to the Denver area. So we're on the last leg. I think we have maybe another hour or 2, hour and a half left.
And we've just been creeping uphill, ascending, guys. We're going to be 7,500 feet above sea level.
It's gonna be high up.
High up in the mountains. Our ears are pop. Mine have started to pop.
I hope I don't get altitude sickness.
Oh no, you little altitude cutie.
I'm a little altitude cutie.
Cutie, cute, cute.
All right, well, we're gonna go have fun in Colorado, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't leave. We'll be right back to tell you all about it, and we're gonna do our favorite scenes, our Knive ratings, and tell you about our next episode.
And just give you a recap on everything.
Stay tuned.
See you in a tit.
And we're back.
Hello.
Told you we wouldn't be gone long.
Oh my gosh, but we have had a blast since we last spoke.
Yeah, we had a colorful Colorado adventure, to say the least. It was kind of like #goals.
It was also pretty quintessential Colorado.
Yes.
Smelled wonderful, that mountain fresh air.
Oh, it was amazing.
The views of those snow-capped mountain tops.
Yeah, everywhere you looked, it was just gorgeousness. We were laughing because we couldn't stop saying like, oh my god, look at that, or I want to take a picture, look at that, oh my god.
We had to forgive each other for stopping so many times to just get a picture of a skyline or a mountaintop or snow.
Snow. Yeah, before we went to the Stanley Hotel, we stayed the night in Denver. We had a really good evening. We went to Casa Bonita's, like we said, and OMG. Go with caution. Tread with caution.
It was an experience.
Yeah, it was great, especially for us South Park fans. We had to go. We were in the area.
Yes.
If you're a South Park fan, you know
We'd have been remiss we didn't, but we went and we waited for 90 minutes.
It's the weirdest setup. You don't go in, put your name down, and get a little buzzer and wait to get seated.
No, does not happen.
You get in a line.
Yep.
And when we first got in the line, it looked kind of like a long line, but you couldn't see really that far. So we got in it and then just kept going and going. We, no joke, waited an hour and 30 minutes. We got there at 5:30. We didn't sit down until 7. But it's this weird system where you wait in the line, then you order while you're in the line, and at the end of the line you pick up your food, and then you go up to a host and they seat you.
And then you kind of go into this big, huge it's multiple levels. It's all kind of in this round area facing this waterfall. There's a stage.
Yeah, very jungle Mexican, Aztec.
Yes.
Vibe is what they're kind of going for. Mayan.
You have your food. You sit down. Your servers here's your little flag. You let me know what you need.
You're watching cliff divers and people doing a little show. They kept coming out and
being pirates and things like
that.
Yeah,
being funny in a family-friendly kind of way. So
yeah,
AKA
children running everywhere.
Cheesy as fuck. It was crowded.
Yes.
My advice would be never go on a Saturday, or if you do, as we were leaving at 8:00, there was no more line.
Yeah,
so I would go
later.
We thought maybe we were sneaking in there. 5:30 is kind of getting close to some dinner time. We're it's a little early. Maybe it'll be. No. I think we went at the worst time possible.
Yeah,
we saw the cliff divers. We went through Black Bart's Cave, their funny little haunted attraction. They have everything in there. Video games.
We ate yummy Mexican food.
Oh, yeah.
Had sopapillas and margaritas, swirls.
And it's all you can eat, so they have a little flag that you can raise when you want more. I wanted more enchiladas, so I got more enchiladas. Justin got another taco.
Oh my god, the taco were so good. Well, one of the taco that I had gotten soggy, so I was I actually want a taco that. Yeah, long story short,
So it was fun. If like I said, if you're there, tread with caution. It's a very novel, gimmicky place, but it was hysterical.
Yeah, we've seen it, we've done it.
Yeah.
We don't have to do it again. Check that off our bucket list.
Probably won't go back for a long, long time.
Yeah. Okay, so we got done with Casa Bonita's and we had so much fun doing that. We went and walked around downtown Denver. We had,
It's so nice at night. It's a nice strollable city, Denver is.
Yeah. The just mountain air coming down.
So fresh.
We're strolling on the little river canal area that they had.
And then
16th Street, right? Is what it was. Yeah, trying to remember 16th Street Mall.
Yes.
We were walking around, so that was fun.
And then the next day, we went and had brunch. Then we headed up the mountain to the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, and it was an incredible climb. The drive up was just, again, most of us constantly oh my god, look at that. Oh, do I need to stop? Oh, I missed that stop to take a picture. Where can we stop to take pictures?
Gorgeosity.
It was, we're from Oklahoma. It's flat around here. So to be up in the mountains, and it's the end right now, we're recording this at the beginning of March, so it's the end of winter. You'll be listening, it'll be the beginning of spring, perhaps.
Yeah.
And just to see all the snow melting, get that last little taste of winter, it was so nice. But then you get into Estes Park, and there up on the hill, you just see it. You can see it from all different points of town, is the Stanley Hotel.
You can see it. It's a shining beacon on this top of the crest of this mountain. It
overlooks this cute little town of Estes Park, and it's kind of quintessential what you think of a Colorado mountain town.
It's a big
I
white hotel.
I want to live there. Yeah, and then on top of the hill overlooking it is this gorgeous white hotel, like we said earlier, built in 1909. So it has like this grandeur about
It's
it
very
that
Victorian.
you don't see anymore in hotels. It's not like a block.
Awesome
shape.
veranda, entrance, staircase. They have the beginnings of a hedge maze.
Yes, they did plan a hedge maze in 2015 in response to as a thank you is what the video said. We built it in 2015 as a thank you to all the Shining fans and the people that keep I guess the memory alive of the Stanley. It's probably that book and movie and the mini-series have all probably
just an
contributed.
association that comes with it. We check in. We go up to our room. We are in room 211, and
a few doors down, there's legendary 217.
just we could see it from our room. It was hi, there you are. We would wave to it.
Yeah, of course we had to go take
Sis.
pictures and videos. Waited to see if Stephen King would show up, but he didn't.
No, he never did. He never showed up. He wasn't sitting there writing on a little typewriter in the room.
He's like, guys, I live in Maine. I don't live at the Stanley Hotel.
We adventured
sorry,
around and saw the different levels of the hotel that we could have access to. They also
Yeah, the
were-
lobby is so nice, too. There's 2 fireplaces. There's a car, an old-fashioned car that I guess used to transport people around the Stanley. There's just all kinds of, a nice piano.
Yeah.
To both sides of the lobby are the different ballrooms, and it just had an old-timey feel to it. And haunted. It's haunted.
Oh, we experienced our own moment of haunting in our room when
It's a little embarrassing,
we
okay?
had a moment of vulnerability.
We share multiple hotel rooms.
Oh, goodness.
We're best as friends, but we don't watch each other poop.
No,
And,
that's never
after a long journey, sometimes you gotta take care of yourself. I needed to sit down for a minute, and as I'm doing so, the bathroom door just flies open. There's Justine stretching, looking right at me, and I'm like, "Hey, Justine, I'm literally pooping right now. Can you shut that door?"
So I had to walk over, shut
the door. 2 minutes later.
See my friend briefly. I
Door.
didn't look long.
I still haven't finished. I told Justine, I'm so glad that door didn't open while I was wiping my ass. 'Cause if you saw my butthole, I don't think our friendship would survive.
I don't know where we would be on the other side of that.
So yeah, it happened twice. It's like the ghost was trying to shame me. I'm gonna play a joke on you. He's either a prankster or a shamer. I can't decide.
One or the other, or the same.
So that was our paranormal experience. But another cool thing, at the hotel they have an on-site clairvoyant. But
yes,
she wasn't there.
She wasn't there. Well, when we saw her, her office hours weren't. We went down there late in the evening time.
They also do daytime and nighttime tours. They do ghost tours and folklore tours and history tours of the hotel. We weren't really interested. I know we probably should have done the ghost tour, but we were only there for a night. We wanted to kind of see the town a little bit. We went for a nice hike around Estes Lake.
Yeah, we did a 4-mile hike. It was so beautiful.
One of the best walks ever.
Around a lake in this little town, this mountain town.
Ice, snow, caps everywhere, but it was probably 45 degrees. We didn't really get cold till maybe the last mile.
Yeah, and then
And-
my fingers got a little freezies.
It was awesome. And then we had a nice dinner at the hotel. We had wine and beer by the fire.
The beer was themed like The Shining. It was called The Shining and then Red Rum.
Yeah, and both of the bottles were really cool. Justine had the beers. I was boring and had wine.
Yeah, well, I got the themed things
Yeah,
because
she
that's
got
what
the
we were
theme.
there for.
I know.
And he was a bitch, so
I was being a wino
he
bitch.
wanted a wine by the fire.
And then I got a free glass of wine because
Yes.
we got a charcuterie board, and they didn't bring the little bread, the toasted bread, and
So then we had to wait longer.
so
for
since
it.
we had to wait longer for our toasted bread, he gave me some free wine.
I know, it's kind of so first
Bougie,
world
yeah.
bougie problem.
Sir, we didn't get our toasted.
We did not ask for it
bread.
though. He was just so generous and
Yeah,
gave
we
us
were-
this bread basket.
We're not assholes to waiters at all. We're quite the opposite. We're very forgiving and understanding. And
Yeah, I mean, hello, Who knows? It might not have even been his fault. Maybe it just wasn't sitting up there. So then he had to go back there and be like, "Hey."
And then he gave us like
sir.
all the bread. Like
Yeah.
he gave us toasted pieces. He gave us some nice rosemary bread. He gave us crackers. We were like, "Wow."
Yeah.
He's like,
Do it
and
up.
then the wine. He was working for that tip.
He was. We gave it to him.
And then another funny little thing, it was our phones were saying it was snowing outside, and we got so excited, and we run out to the big veranda, which we had set out on earlier, just like took in the views. But we ran out there at like maybe 9 p.m. Would you say 8:30, 9 p.m. And it was our phones were saying it's snowing, snow showers. No, we go outside, it's just raining.
There was not a single flake.
We were so excited to see snow at the Stanley Hotel. We were like, holy shit,
Holy
yes!
crap. So our phones lied to us for a moment. It was just like sleeting.
And then the next morning, I'm looking at my phone and it says 70% chance of snow at 7 a.m. So 7 a.m. comes around. I'm looking out the window, nothing. So
No
it teased us with snow twice.
No, but
And it didn't put out.
We enjoyed our evening there and took in our shining, just like got Zen centered.
Yeah. We did face masks in the hotel room and hung out.
I wore my shining socks. We really tried to just submerge ourselves.
Yeah, we were basically just like, oh my god, we're here at the Stanley Hotel. We couldn't get over it.
It was awesome.
We still can't get over it. We're back in Oklahoma now. We've been driving for about, 9 hours? We have probably about like another hour left, hour 15 left.
We still got a little bit more. We've been on the road for a tip.
So if we sound delirious or not so peppy, that's why. Maybe we need to start recording the second part, like at the beginning of our trip. I noticed lately we've been doing it at the end, and we're like,
we're back in Oklahoma.
Tired.
Yeah, but it's been a nice little 3-day trip. I've enjoyed it, Josh, but let's get back into the movie. Let's do our favorite scenes and nice ratings.
First, let me say, though, if you're ever in the area and get to stay at Estes Park, it's worth saving up a few extra dollars to stay at the Stanley Hotel. It is a little pricey. That's why we only stayed one night. We stayed one night in Denver because it's a cool $300 or more. So, but it's worth it. You get that experience, and you get that really nice mountain town lodge experience too at the Stanley.
You can understand why when you stay there you're like, yep, I get it, Stephen King.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, this place is special.
There's something about it. And I could also see, like we were so happy when we were there, but he wrote a sadder story.
But now moving on to the movie, like you said.
Yeah, here we go. Let's talk fave scenes. You want to start us off, Mr. Josh? Soul Survivor, Mr. Josh, fave scenes. How about you?
I think, no, you go. Okay, sure. I will say my favorite scenes are the scenes that creep me out the most, maybe more as an adult than they did like maybe 20 years ago or however when I saw it when I was young, are the scenes with like Lloyd and Grady. How those really set up his psyche, how sinister those scenes are, how those are the scenes where the evil is really seething into him.
Yeah.
And they're really taking over his mind.
Seeing these people in the bathroom, they're the barkeeper,
And especially with Grady in the bathroom, he gets so blunt, he uses the weird racial slurs, it's so uncomfortable. But then just how he's like, yeah, kill your family. You need to do something about what your wife's doing. She's up to no good. Take care of it now.
It's time.
Yeah, it's really unsettling. I know I use that word a lot, but it's true. I get unsettled. There's so many good scenes. But I'm gonna go with that. We can talk about more after you say yours.
Okay.
I don't want to accidentally say yours.
So your fave scene.
Or like the bar scenes and the bathroom
scenes in the bathroom scene.
Yeah, I like the Jack Torrance getting fucked in the
downward
head.
spiraling.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I got you. All right, well, I'm gonna go for a way more kind of just classic, iconic scene of Jack axing down the door and Shelley Duvall just giving her all.
Yes.
The performance is phenomenal as she's so scared She has that knife. She's so frightened. You have that classic, here's Johnny moment. I'm at my, like, heightened scared. Like, I'm so frightened. I don't know. Well, at this point, I do know. I've seen this movie a ton of times, but it's just, it's that culmination part. You know, he's pure evil now, and she's having to protect her child, and it's all downhill from now.
Yeah, I like that too. It's kind of like a mixture of paranormal. It turns from like paranormal to almost just like a classic slasher.
Yeah.
With
and
him
then
running around the hotel with an axe after his wife and child.
And you've heard the story before. They told you it at the beginning that somebody killed their family there. So now it's kind of coming full circle again. You start really just realize you just don't know. Are they going to survive because that last family didn't? You know, is Wendy going to make it?
Is she?
Danny going to make it? Danny,
yes.
Poor Danny
yes,
with
she
all
will.
of his, like, psychic abilities. Is Tony going to give him the info he needs?
Hey.
We don't know in this moment, but we're so scared. And Jack's coming after us.
I think you do know what happens.
Well, I know now, but...
Yeah, those scenes are great. They're kind of like, that's like the classic. I think that's what people think of when they think of The Shining, is Jack Nicholson chopping the door down with the axe,
You
peeking
can see
in.
it in Twister, the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
So it even, like, it's like in the culture, you know,
Yeah, it's very much like an iconic pop culture moment.
I
Like,
loves
here's
it.
Johnny, yeah. I also like, they're not really scenes, they're more of like just small moments, but they're very effective. Like when a lot of the imagery that Danny sees, like the blood coming through the elevators, or the twin girls at the end of the hall, or even when he has that flash where they've been completely like chopped up.
Yeah, and they're axed down.
And they're all
and
bloody,
dead.
and it's just a quick. It doesn't even stay on it for more than probably a second. It might even be less than a second. It's so
just
fast.
A flash of horror.
It's very graphic, but it's like, and it's perfectly set up, like the mise en scène that Stanley Kubrick. You know, if you were just to pause it, it looks like a grotesque, beautiful painting almost. And so I like all those moments, all the quick flashes of things that Danny sees.
I enjoy all the aerial kind of shots.
Areola.
Anus, what? Coming in the opening with the music and...
we kept doing that as we were driving in and out of Estes Park.
We
doing
were. And it's just beautiful. So there's this beauty, but also this, like...
Beautiful beauty.
Beautiful, beautiful beauty, beautiful beauty. Anyways, it's beautiful, but it's also like there's terror. It's building up to the kind of isolation of it. They're driving in, and nope, they're gonna be all by themselves.
It's gonna be scary for them too. The funny thing is, the Stanley, though, isn't as isolated as the Overlook in the movie, or even the Overlook in the miniseries. I mean, the town is literally just below the hill. Yeah, or in the book.
Like, yeah. Everything else sets it up to be, like, very isolated and very, kind of, like, climate, hinged on, like, the fact that if, like, it's snowing, like, you're stuck.
Yeah. They had it was easy to get in and out of there.
Yeah. They were just a street above, like, where the main little Estes Park village town was. They were just on top of the mountain. It was a stone's throw.
Yes.
It was gorgeous.
Knives ratings. Are we
even joking? I mean,
like,
five knives.
Come on.
We chose a classic.
It's probably the one thing I disagree with.
Genre-defining movie.
For number 50.
Yes.
We had to go with a big classic for our 50th episode. But, yeah, I was about to say, it's the one thing I disagree with Stephen King about. The movie's great. It might not be a great adaptation of his book, but it's a great movie. It might not be true to what he thinks his book is, but it's a great movie. You know, I could just keep saying that.
Yeah, and I think he's just a little pride hurt.
A little peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, because his script didn't get picked up. And That's okay. Own your feelings, Steve.
Own your feelings, Steve.
Just do that, and things will be better. No, it's like it's kind of a perfect movie.
It is. It looks great. I think the acting's great. Everything about it, yeah. The tension, the storytelling. It's wonderful.
It's genre-defying. Keep saying like.
I know. I'm delirious at this point of the drive. But yeah,
Okay.
we love it. The Shining classic.
Yeah, happy 50.
Our seal of approval. Coming up next episode, though, guys, we're kind of delving into that like kinder horror area again. It's not like 100% a horror movie. Maybe not even 50% a horror movie. But it's a movie that, as a child, I think really creeps you out, really scares you, or at least gets you thinking about things. We're going to go on a chocolate tour at Bedre Chocolates.
Yes.
And we're going to cover Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, it's a Oklahoma chocolate made, but yet they supply nationwide, and so we're gonna go there and do a little
Factory tour. Hopefully there's no Oompa Loompa. So yeah, that's coming up next month. Check out
Scream Queens Horror Movie Road Trip Podcast
on all the formats. Your Instagrams, your Face Places, and your
your
Twitters, your Twatters. Go to all the places. Follow us. Please go give us that 5-star rating and a nice little review. It helps us. It gets us seen more. The more ratings we have, especially the more 5-star ratings we have, the better chances of us getting seen more by people in
that
searches.
algorithm thingy.
Yeah, check us out on all the places. Help us out in all the places.
Appreciate
we love
your
you.
love and support.
We'll be back soon, guys.
All right. Good night.
Bye.